Hello, it's Andrew Larson's film review. It's not Andrew Larson. I'm 30 years old now, and it's change of pace, change of format. I don't have time to be reviewing movies while parked in my car. I'm going to be reviewing movies while driving in my car, while doing my chores, multitasking. And I'm not going to be introducing myself. I'm not going to be talking about anything. I'm just going to be reviewing the movies, point, splat, blat. Alright, first movie, Master Gardener. This is from Paul Schrader. It's the third movie in his trilogy of movies that are all like this. And I haven't seen First Reformed, but I did see The Card Counter, and this is a lot like The Card Counter, except it's about a black and white mixed race relationship. This movie is kind of about how like a black woman's vagina is like dirt. There's a main character, he's a Nazi, and he's into like a dirt, and he's like playing in the dirt as a grounding exercise, but he hates black people. And over the course of the movie, he learns that like having sex with a black woman is a similar kind of, a young black woman, teenage, is a similar kind of grounding exercise, like this new age kind of healing ritual that he thinks it is. It's similar to huffing dirt or putting your face in dirt. And this movie has like a cool image where it's like a neo-Nazi eating a black woman's vagina, and you see like his back, and it's like he's got all the swastikas. Pretty ironic, pretty funny, thumbs up, but not as good as The Card Counter. I'll have to watch First Reformed. I've seen all the Paul Schrader's old movies. Hardcore, whatever, Cruising. Yeah, I've seen them all. Alright, next movie, The Wrath of Becky. This is a great movie. I just heard this movie existed just now, and I watched the first one, and it's about a 13-year-old girl killing neo-Nazis. Didn't I just say something? Wasn't that movie I just said about neo-Nazis? I don't remember. So this one's about neo-Nazis, and the little girl kills them. She's 13. It's real gory. Pretty great movie. Becky. But this is the sequel. Wrath of Becky, Becky 2. And this one's not as good. Instead of neo-Nazis, vague neo-Nazis, this time it's like a direct analogy to those guys that were like a meme. The Proud Boys. And this movie's like Becky versus Proud Boys. And that's like a cool concept, but then there's a twist at the end where she gets recruited by the CIA. Because they're like, Proud Boys is the #1 terrorist organization in the world. And you're a 16-year-old girl, you're going to help us out and kill them, murder them. Point blank, blat, splat. Wow. Pretty edgy. And that sounds like the worst movie ever made. And there were parts of it that were horrible. Just like the first movie, but it was a pretty good movie overall, because I like these kind of movies where people get injured and there's little girls. Next movie, The Machine. The Machine, this is like I don't know what the fuck this movie is. This movie is like one of those comedian movies about a comedian. He's like a Jeff Dunham, or like a Frank Caliendo, or like Bill Engvall. And so he's like a everyman kind of guy, and he likes to drink beer. And there's something about Russia. There's a whole this action espionage story involving Russia. And Mark Hamill's in the movie. This was a terrible movie, but I did laugh a few times, and I liked the soundtrack. It had a cover of one of my favorite songs, Torn by Natalie Imbruglia. And it ended with the song that's like, Father of Mine, tell me where have you been? I don't know what that song is, but that was a good choice. It had unusual song choices. Pretty good. But overall, the movie was just really middle of the road action comedy. Felt like a Walmart production, one of those Frank Caliendo blue-collar comedy movies. I didn't get it. I'm not the demographic for this. The theater was full of old people. The old people seem to really be eating this up. Alright, the next movie I'll be reviewing, this is another movie. Alright, let me think. Alright, this movie was called Shin, Kamen Rider, and it should have been called Shin Uncommon Rider because it was pretty weird. The rider was a pretty strange man. There were two riders. They were both a little weird. This movie is based on a Japanese intellectual property. It's a Japanese movie. It's made by Mr. Evangelion himself, Hideaki Anno. And this is his new Shin Godzilla. This is the sequel to Shin Godzilla, the sequel to Shin Ultraman. Two movies that I loved immensely. Godzilla is something I like. Ultraman something that I wasn't familiar with very much, besides the basic concept. Kamen Rider was something I was not even familiar with on a surface level before I became aware that this movie was coming out when I saw Shin Ultraman. So Kamen Rider was introduced to me the same time that I saw Shin Ultraman, and I didn't really look into it. I saw that it was like some kind of thing about a Power Ranger on a motorcycle, and he's not gigantic, he's not big, he's not a kaiju or a giant mecha thing like Ultraman. He's just human sized, and so that's all I knew. And so I went into this movie and I was expecting something great like those other two movies, and I thought it was great. And I thought it was fantastic, and I loved every second of it. I thought it was the best thing ever made. But then when I was walking out the theater, there were like people behind me, and they were like apparently Kamen Rider fans. And they were like, that movie wasn't as good as I hoped it would be. That wasn't a good Kamen Rider movie. Kamen Rider from 2009 was better. And I really started to doubt myself when I heard that, because I was like, what? Maybe these people know more than me. I don't know. But I really loved it, and I thought it was one of the coolest things I've ever seen in my life. This guy is like a grasshopper on a motorcycle, and every time he punches anybody, there's a bunch of blood, and there's this just like Shin Ultraman. It's like you got 5 seasons of a manga or an anime. I guess in this case it's a live-action tokusatsu thing. I don't know what the hell it is. 100 different things, all shoved into relatively 2-hour-long movie, and it's like tons of plot shoved at you on a roll, as par for the course with these Japanese types of things. The Japanese people love doing this with their media. They love condensing gigantic stories into a movie, and they don't really care if it has the traditional pace of a movie. And that's the case with this one. I like that. I think it works great. I don't want to watch 100 hours of Kamen Rider. I want to watch Hideaki Anno's 2-hour Shin Kamen Rider and call it a day. And in that case, I think this was a fantastic movie, and I loved it so much. And I would watch this over again before I'd watch the 200, 300 hours of fucking Power Rangers. I don't know. I'm not that kind of guy. I just want to see a short, condensed thing. And I feel like this is a standalone movie, just like Shin Godzilla and Shin Ultraman were presented as. Shin Godzilla had what many people believe to be a teaser ending, a teaser setting up another sequel. I don't think that was a teaser ending. I think it was a metaphorical ending about how Godzilla is the people. And I think Shin Ultraman had a pretty definite ending. And I think this movie, if you look at it, I feel like I saw what this movie was going for conceptually better than some of these Kamen Rider fans seem to have. I feel it was maybe like misappropriating the Kamen Rider story in a way that the fans don't like, but that I appreciated, because it turns it into like this cyclical kind of like narrative, like the original Matrix, where it has like an ending where it's going to go on, but it would also work as like a self-contained ending where it's just like Kamen Rider's against the organization, and he's going to keep fighting the organization, and the organization is going to keep existing forever. And it's never going to end. It's a vicious cycle of Kamen Riders. And that's all I have to say. Alright, bye.